Hey guys, wanted to make a video, a quick review video on the S1000 overall, and maybe compare slightly, quickly, to a few other bikes like the ZX10 and some of the competitors to this bike, maybe the V4, which I'll kind of get into in a minute. But overall, I think the S1000 is a very, very good bike. One of my favorite pros, I guess you could say, or positive things about the bike is the factory fueling. It feels really, really good on and off the throttle. The quick shift is amazing on the S1000 compared to like the ZX10 for sure. Obviously, it's a little more expensive, so you kind of pay for that. But the base model S1000, I think we got this one for 19,000. I think it was like 19.2 out the door. So we did really good on the black one, which is a base model. Does come with ABS, which is a huge positive. Most bikes, you have to pay for that after. But I mean, it's kind of included in the price if you compare it to like a ZX10, for example. Looks wise, I think is another positive. Definitely is a different looking bike for sure. The winglets are huge. I mean, although all of the bikes, all of the 1000cc bikes are starting to have winglets as well. So those are two huge positives, I think, for this bike. The next thing is definitely the ride quality. The ride quality on a S1000 is absolutely better than the newer ZX10s. And before anybody says anything, I've owned 3 of the newer generation ZX10s. There's 2 on the channel you guys can go look at. Awesome bikes. I love Kawasaki. It's probably my favorite brand. Maybe tied with BMW as my favorite brand of bike. So not a Kawasaki hater at all. I actually love that brand and the ZX10 in general. It's just the on and off the throttle is a little too rough from the factory. I have heard in the 26 model, the newer model, they've made that better though. So I owned a 21, a 23, and a 25. So in general, comparing these to a ZX10, base to base, I think is a fair comparison. The M Sport's quite a bit more expensive. I think we paid 24 for this one. Does have pretty much all of the options, even forged wheels and things like that. So a different price range for sure. But base to base, I think the ZX10 is very comparable to the S1000. Like I said, I've owned several, and every single time I would pick the S1000 over the ZX10. It's just a smoother ride. Takes bumps definitely better than a ZX10. I think it's more unique a little bit. There are a lot of ZX10s out there, so that's one factor. One thing that is a negative kind of is the price for parts is definitely more expensive in general for an S1000. It's not that much more than a ZX10. Ducati prices are outrageous for parts, I'm sure you guys know. Compared to like a V4, in my personal opinion, the S1000 is definitely better for 95% of riders over a V4. I talked extensively to multiple dealerships about whether I should get a V4, V4S, or an S1000. And both of them said the same thing. We bought the black one in St. Louis, so we talked to them extensively about the Ducatis. They sell Ducati and BMW. And then we bought the white one in Dallas. Same thing. They also sell Ducatis. We talked to them pretty extensively about it. Basically what both dealerships said, every person I've ever talked to about it says, is if you're gonna track the bike 50% of the time, get a V4. Great track bike. It hates low RPMs. It wants to be revved out all the time. The daily riding on a V4S does not even come close to comparing it to the comfort of the S1000. The seating position, on and off the throttle, low RPMs are kind of nightmare from what I hear on a V4 and a V4S. The S1000s are very comfortable. Kind of the same thing with the M1000 as well. Talked to them pretty extensively about those as well. Same kind of thing. If you're gonna track it 30% of the time, 40% of the time, a large portion of the time, go with an M1000 or a V4. Excellent track bikes. But if you're gonna do street riding 90% of the time, I would absolutely pick an S1000 or even a ZX10 over a V4. The other issue I had with the Ducati specifically was the seat height. I talked to the dealerships about lowering the bike. They kind of told me that they would prefer that you leave the Ducati stock height, which for me, being 5'9", is a little too high. and they don't like to be lowered. It definitely affects the ride quality pretty heavily from what they were telling me if you lower a V4 or V4S. We were able to lower both of these bikes 1 inch in the front and 1 inch in the back, and they ride great. No issue. Same thing with the ZX10. If you lower it equally, 1 inch in the front and 1 inch in the back, they're fine. ZX10s are a little bit harder to lower on the front just because of the steering stabilizer. It's kind of in the way of the front forks at the top. So you have to buy a bracket to lower them properly in the front. Not a huge deal though. It's definitely easily doable, and they ride fine once you do that. So coming back to the BMW overall, a couple negatives or things I don't like about the BMW. One of them being is second gear in the BMW. First gear is extremely fast. I mean, like most leader bikes, feels great. First gear is fine. Second gear, there is a huge lag from about 5,000 RPMs all the way up until 8 or 9, to be honest. At 9, it kicks in like, if you've ever been in a turbo car where the boost kicks in, that's kind of what it feels like, which is kind of weird on a sport bike. It should definitely be more linear. The black bike we have is a stock tune, so you can still feel it on that tune heavily. The BT Moto tune on the white bike eliminates that. Basically, it's full power in second gear, and it feels like the way it should from the factory. I can only assume BMW probably does that, and some other manufacturers do that because people take corners in second gear, like low-speed corners, and if they nail it in the corner, probably could cause some accidents, low-speed accidents and things like that. I assume that's why they do that in second gear. But if you're an experienced rider, you should easily be able to handle the full power without making those kind of mistakes. But I do think it's probably due to people making mistakes, to be honest. So it's definitely a negative out of the BMW. Speed-wise and performance compared to like a ZX10 or a CBR 1000, I've ridden several of those. Like I said, first gear is very fast. The top of the rev range feels very good. It's very similar speed-wise to like a ZX10, for example. On the top end, the top end, so above 140, getting to 150, 160, 170, I actually think the ZX10 feels a little bit faster. That may be due to the downforce of the winglets on the BMW. All of the ZX10s that I've owned did not have those. So I do think it creates some drag. I've heard on the M1000, for example, the winglets create a huge amount of drag. On the top end, the S1000 is faster than the M1000 in a straight line anyways. Performance-wise, they feel like any other leader bike, to be honest with you. Very quick in first gear, for sure. Second gear, kind of ugly until you get to 9,000 RPMs, then it feels like it should. So other than that, performance feels about the same as any other 1000cc bike. I will say with the BT Moto tune, it does feel really fast, and it's stage 1, so you really don't have to do anything to the bike. I mean, it's just the tune. And you let them know what modifications you have as far as exhaust, if it's a short muffler or long muffler. They'll ask you all those details. Tire size matters for the traction control, just an FYI. That's a huge point. The black one as a base model has a little bit smaller tire on the back. It's a 190 on the back versus the Sport, which has a 200. But it does matter in the tune for traction control. It can cause issues if you give them the wrong tire size. So just a call out on the BT Moto tune if you do get that stage 1 tune. So overall, the S1000 is a great bike. Like I said, the ride quality on and off the throttle is amazing. The quick shifting is better than any bike I've ever been on. So from the factory, it's amazing. With the BT Moto tune, it's even slightly better, which is crazy because it's already really good. So quick shift is amazing, up and down, almost flawless, really. I think it's as good as you can get it. Fuel mileage, the same as any other leader bike. I don't notice any difference there. Ride quality, suspension on both of these bikes. One has the electronic suspension, the white one, and then the black one just has the normal suspension. Both really good. It is nice to be able to adjust it. You can tell a clear difference in the different modes with the M Sport package. So that does make a difference, but the base model suspension is awesome on it as well. So you can't really go wrong there. It just kind of depends if you want it or not. So both great bikes. Overall, it is a great bike. A little more expensive than the Japanese bikes, but in my opinion, it's a little better. So it's kind of, you get what you pay for in that aspect. No major issues with the bikes yet. They are pretty new, both of them. I think overall, they're very, very good bikes though. I did have one last thing to mention when comparing the two different models, the base versus the M Sport. You can configure the M Sport obviously, so it kind of depends on what you select. But in general, it's about $5,000 more to get the M Sport package. In my opinion, I definitely think it's worth it. For one, you get awesome rear sets from the factory. And if you look these up just to buy them afterwards, I think they're like $1,500 or something just for those. You also get the forged wheels, which is awesome. I think those are over $2,000 just for those. In addition, you get a better chain as well. So you get the M Endurance chain. You also get heated grips and the electronic suspension as well with the M Sport package. So it's about $5,000 more, but you're definitely getting $5,000 more in parts. So just a call out there.